Good evening, guys. Again, I'm Kirtana, Community Lead of Google DSC and Untitled Chapter, and we have Amin with us today to move forward with the third session of Android Study Jams. Amin?
Hello
Yeah.
everyone, hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are.
So we'll be moving to the third session. Hope the slide is visible. We'll be starting with Android Studio and we'll be moving on to making our first app. Looking to some terminologies and basics. We'll be building the app using Android Studio. It's the official tool to build Android apps. We'll be using the help of an emulator, which will be running the app with creating. This is built in. If you download Android Studio, you will be downloaded with it, so you can run it on your device. So this is the user interface. So like in an app, like the UI, what you call UI, that's user interface. This is how people will be interacting with the app. So that's called the UI, and the UI will be consisting of layouts. So we'll have different layouts, and on top of that, we'll have buttons, images. All of those will come under views. So those can be like text and images, buttons, and, all sorts. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get started. So this will be your, when you open Android Studio, this will be what you'll be seeing. And you can create a new project, and for phone and tablet, empty activity. There are different, these are like templates that you can make. So if you're making like maybe a map kind of app, then you'll be using this. And if you want like different types of apps, you'll be different using. So we'll be going with the empty activity. We can name the application. Here the language will be Kotlin, and here you can choose the Jelly Bean. So this is the minimum SDK. So this is the minimum version of Android that it will run in. So anything below this, it will not run. So if you go with the lower version, it will be compatible with all the higher versions as well. So this can run in the most amount of devices.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I had a doubt. For Android Studio is for Android, right? So for Apple, which app do we use for
Uh,
Apple?
right. So for Apple, you will be using like their respective apps. Like Apple has Xcode, and depending on what framework you use to build the app, you will be using different things. So if you want, maybe if you want to build for both Apple and Android, you can use like Flutter, that's very popular, and React Native, all of those. For that, you can use VS Code or whatever IDE that is used, that can be used. So it depends on what framework you use. Uh, this Android Studio, it makes creating Android apps very easy. So it's an IDE for that. Right.
And sir, Kotlin is used in iOS also, right? Yeah, it's not used.
No, iOS has its own. Kotlin is mainly used for Android development. And we can also use Java for Android as well. Yeah, so this will be your starting screen. It will be your main activity. Uh, this is how this is the main activity where the starting screen is, and this will be your this is the design tab where you can design the starting screen. Launch the app, you'll see the screen. This is how the layout is, and you have a text view here. This is text view with hello world written on it. And, here I have an emulator already set up for you. You can create like a new emulator. It's called Android Virtual Device Manager or AVD Manager. In here, you can create a new virtual device and you can choose which one you want. You can choose like different screen sizes, different versions, different phones. And let's say I want Pixel 4, and then I can click next, and uh, I can choose which Android version I want. So like let's say Pi, Oreo, Nugget, or the newer version API 3029. And once you have downloaded it, you have to like download it, and then you can like use that different version and click finish. So then it will be set up. So I have like already two set up for this. And once that is set up, you can press play, and your so this will be the AVD manager, the actual like virtual device. Here you can see it's like a normal Pixel device. And, yeah. So here it says Android 12 requires Android exported. So this is one of the security features, which is a newer one. So if you go to the manifest files, these are the manifest files, and what it is it stores the metadata about the app. So I called my app StudyJam, and it has like different details about the app. And here, if you're making an app for Android 12 or greater, this is something you have to do. You have to export it. So, to set this to true. Once you have done this, you will be able to, when you press play, you will be able to uh, run your app. Right. So we have the StudyJam app and Hello World. And this is what we see here. This is the basic template that they provide. So here from here, we can work on different things. So here we have Hello World, and remove this. So below this, there is a thing called constraint layout. What it does is it allows us to have different views. So text view, button view, all of this inside a layout. So and there are many different types of layout. So depending on your use case, you can use linear layout, frame layout, and many other types. So here we'll be using constraint layout because it's simple to use. Here you can now, if I want to add a text view here, I'll just be adding a text view, and this will be how it is. Now you can see these white white circles. What they are is basically like anchors, which you can take like this and move it across. So if I move this across now, it's in the middle. So it's constrained to the sides of this constraint layout. So in that manner, I can place it anywhere where I want and put the constraints and drag it around. Let's say I want to be in the middle. So I put a constraint to the top and down, and now it'll be in the middle of the screen. And I can customize it. Here we have all the options. When I click on the text view, I'll have all the options to customize the text view. So there'll be like common attributes. So text, here I can say that will be shown here. And I have other properties as well. Here I have text color. I want to change it to a different color. I can do that. And there is options to change the font. So if I want a different font size and text appearances and text size, so let me make it a bit bigger. This is how. So this is how the text view works. We will be looking. We can make a simple app like, let's say hello, and let's say now we want an image. You can drag the image view and choose one of the ones, and if you want to add, like, let's say an image from outside, so you can.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
What does the white screen indicate? Like, what is the purpose of the white screen, and why are there two screens? Like, what does the blue screen represent, and what does the white screen represent?
Okay, the white and the blue screen. Yeah, this will be the main part where you will be designing, and this will show you all the details. Like here, let's say if I put this on top, then I'm not able to see the hello text in the white screen. But the blue screen, it's like the blueprint. It will show me where everything is, and it makes it clear. So that's what the blue screen is, and the white screen is for where I can like have different text views or whatever images view where I can design the UI of. Yeah, that clear?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
And now, yeah, so I'll do the same thing. I want this in the middle, or uh, push it to the sides. So now it's constrained on the horizontal axis, and on the vertical axis, you can see it's a line. It's because I'm just setting it with respect to the top part only. With the bottom part, I'm not setting any parameters, so it's actually uh, the position of this image view is defined with respect to the top of the screen. Right, and so here, if I want to be in the middle, I'll put drop it down. So now it's like balanced on both sides, and so it's in the middle. And we can run this and check in our emulator. So it'll be building the app, terminate the old one, and hopefully, right. Um, we will be using, let's try like having a different image. Can import images. So if you want to add your own image, which you have, you can have import drawables and choose from your file like any image you want. And so I'm gonna use this image import. Now, uh, now this is imported, and you can find this what you imported. So you go to Resource Manager, you press the plus icon, and then you can like import drawables. And this is where you can import pictures from outside, like anywhere where you have pictures, you can import them. And so that will be under your in the resources tab. There's a drawable folder, and here you'll find the picture. So if I want to set the images here, I can set it to this one. And so is a different image, let's say, and then I can like I can customize it. Now, if you see, I put this image, it goes above the hello. If I want to bring the hello on top, I take the hello text view. It's in the component tree. I put it in front, and I can see the hello on top. So this will act like a background now. And so resize the image. So yeah, and now we can see like we can add different more text views. Let's change. There are many properties here which you can do. So if you want to make a birthday card, you can do that text, and it says happy birthday, and we can add more text views. So let's say this is another text view. It will show up in the component tree, and we can again uh, set that here. So this is now, if I want to position this text view with respect to this view, then I'm using this top constraint, and I'm attaching it below this image view. So this is like 60 units, 76 units below this image view. So if I drag this up, this goes up as well. So this is constrained to this image view. And so if I want to constrain it on this axis, I can do that. And then so now this is 72 units below this image view and 132 units from the side of the screen. So that's how that works. Right. And so um, yeah, any doubts? Like you can play around with this and check like how it works and how different activities and views relate to each other. And this is your main activity. This is where the code behind this app is. So this is the XML file where you design the UI of the file, and the if you want to like make changes or have the code running behind this, you will do that in the main activity. Here we have the class main activity, and it extends from app compact activity. This is a super class, and this is inheriting from this class app compact activity, and we are overriding a function called onCreate. So app compact activity has a function called onCreate, which we are overriding here. And here we have set content view. What it does is it sets this XML file. XML is like it's the where we design the UI. This UI it sets that as the content. So the content of the main screen will be set as this UI, this XML file. And now here I can modify the files or make changes to the UI and make the app more reactive. So let's say I can So here we have this text view. Let me call this some name so we can identify it. So text view happy. It says happy birthday. I'll rename it to text view happy. So that's the ID. And hey everyone, text view. Now we have given IDs to these text views, and we can use the main activity here to find out and to refer to this text views and then make changes to it. So we can have val, so something which we can refer to as text view. And I do find view by ID, and I'm going to what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to refer to this text view. So and so I'll mention that here, text view. I'm going to take this ID. So this is the ID that I set, and I'm going to put it. So I'm going to do r.id. So we are going to mention the ID here. Now this text view happy is pointing to this text view, happy birthday. And text. So text in the I can change it to something else. Let's so so it has changed to happy birthday to you from happy birthday. So that's how you will modify the text views and views in the activity using main activity. So what we did was we referred to that activity using a val, and we found the view by ID. So now this val is pointing to that view, and then we edited its text value to happy birthday to. So yeah, and this let's say we want to make that change happen when we press a button. So we can put a button here, and yeah. Let's call it like button to change. Let's put the text on the button to be change. The button will have change on it, and what we want to do is when we click the button, it should say happy birthday to you. So we go to the main activity and we again refer to that button. So how will we do that? We'll do val. So button. Give any name here actually. So if you give the same name, it will be easier for you to identify and keep track. We'll again do, and here we'll give button because we are referring to a button, and then so if you see this red, it means it's asking you to import button. This you have to press Alt Enter, it says, and then you'll get import. So once you import it, you can see it here. It's a widget button. You're importing that so that you can use it in the main activity. Here our ID is resource.id. So this ID of the resource. So here the ID is of the button. ID will be given as button to change. You can put it here. So now this button to change is referring to that specific button. Now what we need to do is when we click the button, the text should change. And for that, we need a click listener. So what that does is when a click happens, it listens to, like, it monitors if there's a click happening, and when it happens, we can do something specific. So I can the on-click listener here when I'm setting when this button is clicked, I want this to happen. So I put this inside this parenthesis, curly brackets. So when this button listens to a click or someone clicks the button, this text gets changed to happy birthday to. So let's just try that. So if I press change, it changes to a happy birthday to you. And so that's how you have make the app reactive. So you can have buttons. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So yeah. Now let's say okay, we'll make something like, let's say we want to make a dice app. So we want to click a button and it should give a random number between 1 and 6. So here this thing, instead of this, I can keep it as 0. And I'll call this, for clarity, I'll call this text view number. So this is a number and I want this change, instead of change, I'm calling it roll. So yeah, once I roll the die, I should get a number between 1 and 6. Right. So we can change it to change the text view. Button to and change that. So we want it to be a random number between 1 and 6. So what we'll be doing is using a random function. This is provided by, again, you'll have to import it. This is Alt, and if you press Alt Enter, you can import it. It'll automatically do it for you. So it's a utility function from Java. So you can use that function here to the number. So next int, that means I want an integer random value and I will set it to 6. I want 0 to 6. So what this function is, it will return something from 0 to 6, 0 to 5, 6 numbers. And since I put 6 here, it will return 6 numbers and it starts from 0. So it returns 0 to 5. But I want some number between 1 and 6. So I'll add 1 to it. So that will make it from 1 to 6. So it'll go from 0 to 5 to 1 to 6. And instead of putting it directly into text view, I'll make it a variable. So random. So this rand gets a value from 1 to 6. And now I can set the text view to this number. So I'm doing rand, and if I just do rand, what happens is it'll show this thing called, there's a red underline and it shows type mismatch. So what it's saying is it's finding int integer value, but it needs a character sequence. So text view number, it only displays string values and not integer values. So what you need to do is convert your integer to string. So just do rand to string. To do that, then it will be converted to a string value. So text number dot text equals rand dot to string. right? And so this will set the text value to a string. And so if we run this, uh, right. So if you press roll, we will get a random number from, and we can output it here. Any doubts on this? Okay, right. So here, if you see here, if you look at the component tree, there's a triangle here, and it's saying hard-coded string role should use at string resource. Hard-coding text attributes directly in layout file is bad for several reasons. So what this is saying is, I'm just calling this role and I'm just like typing it here, hard coding it, and that is not actually a good practice. And the reason for it is, let's say I am making a big app and I have several of these buttons which has different text on it and everything. And I want to, let's say, convert it into a different language or do something, change some of these values, then I have to individually go here and then change all, and all of that will be very difficult. So what it's asking me to do is, yeah, you can see here, it's asking me to, so it's suggesting a fix, like I have to extract the string resource. So if I click on this fix, I can give it a resource name, and if I press OK, that error goes away. And what that does is, in your values file, you have a separate folder called strings, and here you can store all the strings that you have in your string. So let's say the happy birthday text that I had, I could have stored it here. So let's say if I'm translating or doing something else, I can just refer it here and change in this one file. I can just change it and it will change everywhere. So that's a good practice that you can do to keep your app, keep your projects, and it's easier to maintain. Here again, I can do the same thing like roll. So now it's referring to this string here in this file. So if I change this here, let's say, and if I go back here, it changes here as well. So everything is in one file, so that's convenient. Yeah. Any doubts? So, okay. I hope like everyone has downloaded or study like Android Studio. If you haven't, like I've provided the links in the previous class. By today or before next class, I would recommend you all downloading it and looking around, trying different stuff. So yeah, covered how to create a new project and run the app in the emulator. And you can run your app on the phone as well by connecting it via USB cable. And so I have put a link to how you can do that. It's a little bit of a process. I'll show you how it's done. So this is like here, all the details are given. You have to turn USB debugging on your phone, and that you can do by, let's see if I can show it here. You go to settings folder and you can go down in your phone. It'll be like about device. If you click on that, there'll be build number here. Build number, if you tap on it 7 times, it'll get you to developer mode. And once you're in developer mode, you can have like USB debugging turned on in your system settings. So there will be an advanced setting, and you will have like developer options, and in that you will have the emulator flash. Hopefully in your phone you will have like the USB debugging option, which you can turn on, and once you have turned on, you can install the Google USB driver, which will be from the SDK manager. You can install the USB driver, and then you can plug in your app, and then here your phone will be showing up as one of the devices here. So then you can run it from your phone, which is much more convenient, because as you see here, this emulator, it crashes most of the time and it's not very convenient. So that's one thing you can do. And so we'll look into some of the basics of the app. So the app consists of an activity and resources and Gradle files. So we have seen like main activity, and that's where like the main file, the files of the app are, and you can see here there are different folders like main Android manifest. That's the metadata about the app. So it stores the details about what the app does and what are the details and specifics of the app. Have like different files. All of these are in the different. So the views are very important. All the things you have seen, the text view button, all of these come under the views. It's the user interface where the user can interact and see. So text view, image view, button, all of these are there, and they can be grouped together in layouts. So we had here they have used linear layout. We have used constraint layout in our. And, the layouts they are all XML files, and you can see all their attributes there. And so yeah, this is XML file for the text view. So I'll show that here in the app. So this is the design view, and this, whatever you're designing, there's actually code behind it. So if you want, you can also, instead of designing it there, you can write the code for it. So you can specify there's a button and give it the ID with all the properties here manually. So this will be the XML file and the code for that. Right. And so that's the XML file, and you have different layouts. You have frame layout where we can use only one single view inside it. So as we see in constraint layout, we had multiple views, but in frame layout, we can just hold one view. And in linear layout, this constraints, all these constraints like these, all these constraints won't be there. Instead, you will be defining where the view go by it being linear. So the first will go on top, and then the next will be bottom in that manner. So here you can find the linear layout, horizontal linear layout, and we have vertical linear layout, so on. And frame layout, all these layouts you can find under the layout and yeah, view hierarchy, like which views goes on top of the other, and that is described in the view hierarchy. And linear layout has its own view hierarchy where top and bottom is defined by that hierarchy. And so the app has a lot of resources. So all the images that you have, all of that will go under the resources of the app. So the app icon, the user interface, strings, audio files, images, layout files, all come under the app resources. And the common resource directory, as we have seen, it's the res file. You can find it here, the res file, and drawable. You can have your images and your layouts and values. All of these come under the resources. And resource IDs. This is how you identify a resource. So here we have seen for like all the views and stuff, we have specified an ID for that. That's the resource ID. And resource IDs for view. So we can have that there, each ID. So we can call from the main activity, like we can realize, okay, this is what we want, and we can set it to a variable. So we can call that and modify accordingly. Activities. So activity is a means for the user to accomplish a goal. So let's say you have different screens in your app, so you would make a different activity. And that's what an activity is. So it's basically like a screen. So if you click on one thing and you go to a next screen, then that will be a different activity. And the main activity is the launcher. When you launch the phone, the main activity comes. So it has like an activity cycle. Here we saw an onCreate function. That's when the activity is created, that runs, and all the code inside that runs. So you can think of it like the main function of that sort, but not. It's when it is created that will be running. So that's how it works. And so yeah, you can write your code inside the onCreate function. And so to make your app interactive, you can have a lot of different views. So I'll show that main activity. We have buttons, you have an image button, a checkbox, so something you can have, and radio box, toggle button. All of these you can use to make your app more interactive. So you can use widgets here, which is like image view, that's widget. Yeah, you can have a progress bar. So this is like a progress bar, and it'll have color lighting, and have circular progress bar, which to indicate loading screens, and all of these make your app. All of these are already given in by Android Studio, and you can use it to make your app more interactive. And many types, you can look around here. There's a lot of options. Have different things. And so we have seen how we can modify the different views dynamically. So we have a val that points to that specific view, and by modifying this val, we can modify the view. So, and we have on-click listeners, as we have seen with the button. So when we click this button, what happens is the on-click listener, the code inside the on-click listener runs, and here you see main activity. So here on-click set on-click listener, and this on-click listener, what it does is stores the random. It gets a random value between 1 and 6 and stores it into rand. And here I'm setting the text of the text view as this rand, and since it will only accept strings and this is just a number, I'm converting this number to string using this function, and I'm setting it. So that's how that works. And yeah, and Gradle is what builds the app. So here, if you press build, so this is the run app button. If you press this, and you see like a lot of process running, and so the app is being built, and the Gradle is what is allowing to build the app. So it builds the app. It does a series of tasks like installs the app to the device. It compiles the codes and it runs tests and determine the proper order of the tasks. Manages dependencies. All of these stuff Gradle handles. So these are the different tasks that the Gradle has to do. Once that is done, it gets installed on your device, and you can see it here. And one more thing, if you look around, there's a thing called example unit test. Tests are something that you can have to assist you in debugging. So if you have, you can write tests for your code and make sure that they are working properly. So if you run the test, you can find out if there are any bugs or not. That's what, yeah. Any doubts? Okay. So yeah, that's basically this session. I've looked at the basics of Android Studio. We have created a simple app that gives a number between 0 to 6. So a dice app created, and you can check this out in the pathway. So there's a pathway. If you click on this, you can go to the here. You can follow this through, complete this, and there's a quiz at the end. If you take this, you can complete the pathway and earn the badge. I have also given the links to download Android Studio. Yeah. So my next class, I have to download. Yeah. Any doubts, clarifications?
Yeah, I don't think there are more questions right now. I'll stop the recording.